After dying peacefully of old age, I returned to my college days. Seeing Bruce, I habitually leaned over to kiss him. "Morning, hubby." It wasn't until I felt his body suddenly stiffen that I snapped fully awake. Oh crap. At this point in time, Bruce and I were still sworn enemies. Like actual sworn enemies. The kind where we both wished the other would just disappear from the face of the earth. Chapter 1. Bruce and I had known each other since we were 6. But we didn't actually get together until we were 36. Bickering. No, weathering the storms of life together for 50 years. When I finally closed my eyes at the very end, it was peaceful, no pain, no regrets. So I couldn't figure it out. How did I open my eyes and end up back in college? Did the reincarnation script get the wrong guy? It's not like I have any enemies I need to take revenge on. But right now, I really didn't have the time to ponder this. Bruce was leaning against the side with his arms crossed, watching me with a look of leisurely amusement. "Cat, got your tongue?" He was waiting for me to explain my absurd behavior just now. 5 minutes ago, I had woken up groggy, saw Bruce, subconsciously reached out to hug his waist, nuzzled my face against his neck, and whined for a kiss. He was so shocked his whole body went stiff, and it took him quite a while before he violently shoved me away. How was I supposed to explain that this was actually a habit formed over decades? I couldn't explain it at all. If I told him now that we had been together for most of our lives and did this every morning, he would definitely think I was crazy and send me to a psychiatric ward. After all, at a university, everyone knew that Bruce and Arnold were sworn enemies, entirely incompatible like fire and water. I scratched my head and randomly made up an excuse. "I was having a dream," he sneered. "You call out for your hubby in your dreams?" Oh, I did indeed call him hubby when I asked for a kiss just now. Seeing me stay silent, the mockery at the corner of his mouth became even more pronounced. "Arnold, I really didn't expect you to actually like men, and to be so shameless about it, calling out even in your sleep. If you're that itchy, why don't you use a stick to solve it?" That was way too harsh. My blood pressure immediately spiked. I subconsciously reached into my pocket for my pills, only grasping empty air before remembering that I was only in my early 20s right now. I didn't need blood pressure medication. "Shut up. Why should I?" He smiled again. "I'm going to shout it out and let the whole department know. Let's see how you secure first place then." I blanked for a second, then remembered. At this point in time, Bruce and I were competing for the special scholarship. I had won an award in a national competition, and the extra credits put me far ahead of him. I hadn't been able to resist bragging to him that I was definitely going to get it this time. Homosexuality was still not widely accepted in this era. If it really got out, it might be treated as a behavioral issue, and I could even be disqualified from the scholarship. Irritating. It wasn't that I cared about the scholarship, but rather Bruce's current attitude. Snide, sarcastic, and relentlessly aggressive. Even though I knew perfectly well that our relationship was indeed bad right now, and he had no idea how much he would love me in the future. He wasn't wrong, but being spoken to like this by the person I loved still made me feel a bit hurt. "Go ahead and tell them," I replied softly, shrinking back under the covers. "I'm going to go back to my dream. The Bruce in my dream is still waiting for me." "Hold it right there." Bruce's eyes widened. He grabbed my shoulder and yanked me out from under the covers. Who the hell is the guy in your dream?" Upon hearing my answer, "It's you." His face twisted as if he had swallowed a fly, and he scrambled back to his own dorm. I took a nap, but unfortunately, I didn't dream. When I woke up, it was already dark outside. My roommate had turned on the light. The incandescent bulb dangled from its wire, casting unsteady shadows across the room. I was actually still here. I thought I would wake up back in my coffin. Then again, following the original timeline, I should be ashes by now, mixed together with Bruce's and sealed beneath our tombstone. We didn't adopt any kids, nor did we keep any pets, so naturally, no one would come to visit our grave. Lost in thought, my roommate reminded me, "Aren't you going to take a shower? The bathhouse is about to close." I gave a sound of acknowledgement, slowly got out of bed, picked up my wash basin and towel, and shuffled toward the bathhouse in my slippers. Still not used to this young body, I walked very slowly. Arriving at the entrance, a rush of heat and steam washed over my face. I spotted Bruce right away. His shower curtain was only drawn halfway, and he was rinsing the soap suds off his body. Under the dim yellow light, his pronounced muscle lines looked slightly softened, but it still made my heart race. I felt my heart suddenly start pounding wildly, hot blood rushing to my limbs. My whole being felt as though it had been awakened. When we were 36, Bruce and I had become the heads of 2 different internet companies, respectively. The substance of our rivalry shifted from academic rankings to company market caps and annual profits. At a business banquet one time, we both accidentally drank spiked wine and happened to get locked in a room together. The person who drugged the drinks had originally intended to mess with someone else. They probably never expected that two men in their 30s would compete like elementary schoolers and down all the wine on the tray. That night, Bruce and I argued fiercely over who would take the lead. Eventually, I ran out of strength and was pinned down by him until dawn. Afterward, I feigned composure and said, "Your technique is terrible. Compensate me with 2 projects, and we'll call it even." For once, Bruce didn't argue back. He silently stubbed out his cigarette and came over to help me put my pants on. A week later, he was waiting for me downstairs at my company. "I can compensate you with the projects, but I don't want to just call it even." Looking back now, our beginning was basically a case of getting a taste of the sweetness and not being able to let it go. It's a pity we only got to enjoy it for a few years before hitting middle age, where the spirit is willing but the flesh is weak. Chapter 2. When I came back to my senses, I was already standing behind Bruce. He seemed to have noticed, turned his head, and his eyes suddenly widened. "Holy shit! What are you doing?" I ignored his panic and anger, my gaze slowly shifting downward to land on his narrow waist. I wanted to touch it. I hadn't touched a 20-year-old Bruce yet. In fact, I actually did exactly that. "Arnold!" He violently shook off my hand. "Wake the fuck up. Are you still dreaming?" He used a lot of force and it hurt me. I immediately felt a bit wronged. "Bruce, you can't treat me like this." He froze, his voice growing anxious. "How did I treat you? You were clearly the one who— Oh, you mean what happened this afternoon? I didn't tell anyone. I wasn't really listening." When his breathing hitched, his lower abdomen rose and fell, making his muscles look even better. My chin was pinched and I was forced to look up. "Stop looking." Amidst the swirling steam, Bruce's face was almost completely red. I started watching his bobbing Adam's apple again. It was so sexy. I wanted to kiss it. My gaze was too direct. He reacted, angrily turning my face towards the wall. "I really can't deal with you. Arnold, are you possessed or something? Have your mom find a master to exorcise you." "No need for a master," I said with effort. "You just need to sleep with me once and I'll be fine." Bruce probably froze for a few seconds. Even his breathing stopped. Then he completely panicked, hurriedly pushing me out. "You're crazy. Stay away from me." He pushed very hard. I stumbled and landed on the floor. Before I even had time to cry out in pain, a loud bang suddenly came from the doorway. A classmate dropped what he was holding, turned around, and shouted loudly, "Bruce and Arnold are fighting, because we fought in the bathhouse." Both Bruce and I were disqualified from the scholarship. He probably just couldn't bring himself to say, "Arnold wants to have a gay relationship with me." So he didn't defend himself. Is this your goal? Harming others without benefiting yourself? Is it worth it? I lay on my stomach on the bed, my butt still throbbing with pain from time to time. "Pour me a glass of water." "Who do you think you're ordering around?" I licked my dry, cracked lips. "I want to drink water." Bruce's face was dark, his tone very unfriendly. "Where's your cup?" "Fuck. How many days has it been since you washed this? Don't you know to refill the thermos when it's empty?" He went out cursing and grumbling, and returned not long after carrying a thermos of water. I suddenly remembered something. "Bruce, why were you in my dorm yesterday?" His pouring motion paused for a second. "Your roommate said you wouldn't wake up, so I came to see if you were dead." TSK. So disappointing. The cup was held out in front of me. I didn't take it. Instead, I struggled to prop up my upper body and leaned over to drink from it. Just as my lips touched the rim, Bruce suddenly yanked it back. "Do you not have fucking hands? You need me to feed you. We're an old married couple. It's not like you haven't fed me before. When I was hospitalized in my 50s, you even took care of my daily needs." I pursed my lips and didn't speak. I took the cup and took a slow sip. Just as I swallowed, my butt started hurting again. This time it hurt for a while, and I couldn't help but groan. "Too hot?" I added cold water to it. My hands went empty as Bruce took the cup back. "The temperature is clearly just right. Are you trying to scam me again?" "Ugh." "Bruce." I gripped the bedsheets and inhaled sharply. "Help me check if my butt is bruised. Why does it hurt more today than yesterday?" Bruce didn't speak. I carefully lifted my head, meeting his complicated gaze. "Do you know what you are saying?" "Yeah. I can't see it myself. What's the point of me looking? Will you instantly get better or something?" The logic was sound, but why did hearing it make me feel so awful? I buried my face in the pillow. Forget it. Just go. Bruce actually left. Very decisively, unwilling to stay a single second longer. Hearing the door close, a thick wave of sourness welled up in my heart. I shouldn't have held any expectations for the Bruce of this age. I'd wait for my roommate to get back and have him check for me. If it looked bad, I'd have to take a trip to the campus clinic. Unexpectedly, my roommate hadn't returned, but Bruce came back, with the school doctor following right behind him. The doctor prescribed a bottle of medicinal oil for promoting blood circulation and removing stasis, and handed the task of applying it over to Bruce. Bruce immediately became displeased. Why does it have to be me? Based on the fact that you two are on the same disciplinary notice. Are you going to say you didn't hit him? Bruce tried to speak a few times, but swallowed his words back down. He tacitly accepted it. It's just that when he was applying the oil, his force clearly carried some emotion. It hurts. Be gentler. Ah. My mouth was covered by his hand. Bruce's brows were tightly knit, gritting his teeth. What are you crying out for? Can you not be so disgusting? My eyelashes wet with tears, I lowered my eyes, not even daring to make another sound. The movement of his hands paused for a moment. He gave a soft TSK, turned his head away, and quickly finished applying the medicine. Coming out after washing his hands, seeing that I was still holding the same position without moving, he came over and lightly kicked the foot of the bed. I say a couple of words to you and you get upset? You were being so loud, and it's just the two of us in the dorm. Did you even think about what others would think if they heard you? My angle at this moment was pointed right at his waist and hips. A blue and white nautical shirt, white dress pants, and a narrow brown leather belt cinching a nice waistline. Back then, I only thought Bruce was chasing trends to steal my thunder. Now, yeah, he really is quite handsome. Although 36-year-old Bruce was also handsome and 56-year-old Bruce had his charm too. The Bruce right now was young, vibrant, healthy. I suddenly froze. Hey, are you deaf? Bruce waved his hand in front of my eyes. I snapped back to reality and looked into his eyes. Light brown, clear and bright. If you have something to say, just say it. What are you staring at me for? I blurted out. I want to touch you. Touch what? You finished touching me. Now it's my turn to touch you. WH. He abruptly stopped talking, backed up 2 meters, both surprised and angry. Arnold, what are you saying? I was applying medicine to you, not touching your ass. You didn't touch it? That was applying medicine. You didn't touch it? Chapter 3. When Bruce spoke again, he had clearly lost his energy, his voice carrying a hint of compromise. I touched it, but that was to apply medicine. I interrupted him. Yeah, I want to touch yours. He pressed his lips tightly together. After a long stalemate, he slowly walked over. He's actually going to let me touch him? Just as I reached out my hand, he grabbed my wrist. Arnold, are you sick? He pressed my hand onto the bed and freed up his other hand to feel my forehead. Did you have a fever yesterday? You acting like this doesn't seem like you're joking. It looks more like you've burned your brain out. In the past, you couldn't even be bothered to talk to me. You even hated the air I breathed. Did we really hate each other to that extent in the past? It was too long ago. It wasn't just a matter of the last century. It felt like a matter from a past life. I couldn't really remember that kind of emotion anymore. I only remembered that later. When we fell in love, every single day felt like it wasn't enough, and I loved everything about him. All right, actually, I don't want to touch. Bruce froze for a moment and breathed a sigh of relief. Yet, for some inexplicable reason, his eyes darkened. I knew it. You're just playing. I want to sleep with you. Amidst his shock, I continued. I don't hate you at all. You are the only man I can accept. Only you can. Arnold. Bruce raised his voice to interrupt me. His face flushed completely red, the veins on his forehead bulging, and his chest heaving violently. Do you know no shame? Do you have no dignity? How can you even say such things? This is considered shameful? I haven't even started talking yet. Unfortunately, Bruce didn't give me another chance. He fled in utter panic. I sat in a daze for a while, a trace of regret welling up in my heart. My mindset was still stuck in the old married couple state. I completely forgot that the current Bruce was still an innocent college student. The impact of my words just now was too huge. He definitely couldn't handle it. But he was right in front of my eyes. I didn't want to wait until we were 36. The school doctor's medicinal oil was very effective. After sleeping for one night, I could walk normally again. I simply woke up early, bought breakfast, and delivered it to Bruce's dorm. When his roommate saw me, he immediately became alert. If you guys are gonna fight, take it outside. Don't drag me into it. We're not fighting. Do you want a fried dough stick or a scallion roll? He didn't dare eat it, afraid I had poisoned it. He made an excuse about going for a morning jog and ran off quickly. Bruce wanted to run too, but didn't succeed. With his pants only half on, I cornered him on his bed. What exactly are you trying to do? Delivering breakfast. Is that hard to understand? At this moment, he had that bewildered look of someone who had just been forcefully woken up from sleep. It was so cute. I really wanted to kiss him. Hold back. Can't scare him away. Need to take it slow. I started running to his dorm for no reason, got his class schedule, and shamelessly attended classes with him. Everyone thought it was unbelievable. I gave a very official explanation. After the incident last time, I have deeply realized my mistakes. Classmates should be united and friendly, not compare or fight with each other, and follow the 5 emphases, for beauties and 3 loves. Classmate Bruce definitely agrees as well. We are striving to become good friends and make progress together. The teachers were very gratified, and the classmates were very gratified too. With things like this, if Bruce gave me a sour face again, he would look petty. Bruce, Arnold was beaten up by you and still has such high awareness. Why are you being so petty? Yeah, exactly. He's a grown man, putting his pride aside to come find you every day. What more do you want? To be honest, you probably dragged him down. Arnold's credits were way higher than yours. Bruce didn't say anything, but secretly pinned me against the wall. You talk such a good game. Do they know what you're actually thinking about inside? I didn't hear a single word he said. My heart completely filled with joy over our current position. Wow, a Cape Dawn? So nostalgic. He froze. What is a Cape Dawn? It's what we're doing right now. According to plot developments, the next thing you do is kiss me. Bruce's originally fierce expression instantly vanished, and he let go of me immediately as if he had been electrocuted. Who wants to kiss you? Stuttering and flustered, he was dead cute. We don't have to kiss. I reached out my index finger and hooked his belt, slowly squatting down. I tilted my face up to look at him, my chin intentionally or unintentionally brushing against that patch of fabric. Bruce, how long has it been since you took care of your needs? He was completely dumbfounded by this sentence, staring blankly without reacting. Well, accidentally went too far again. But since the words were already out, I might as well continue. Currently, he still can't accept pleasing me, but could he really refuse me taking the initiative to please him? I caught the zipper with my teeth. Just as I pulled it halfway down, he moved. His movements were as stiff as a newly assembled robot. His entire body tensed as he rigidly pushed my face away. Arnold, I'm begging you, act normal. I'm very normal. You, on the other hand, I intentionally dragged out my words. Aren't you a bit too sensitive? His Adam's apple bobbed unnaturally. He clearly understood what I was talking about. For a moment, he didn't know whether he should continue blocking my head or cover his own crotch. After a flurry of panicked movements, he hastily dropped a sentence. I have to go back to class, and left. His footsteps were uncoordinated, and the tips of his ears were so red they looked ready to drip blood. On the day the scholarship list was announced, the classmate who was originally ranked 3rd suddenly asked me out for a meal. I was a bit surprised, but I still agreed. After all, if Bruce and I hadn't been disqualified, this money would never have fallen to him. Accepting the invitation wasn't out of greed for a meal, but because Bruce had been avoiding me for several days, and I was just worrying about not finding an opportunity to get close to him. It wasn't until I walked into the small restaurant that I realized Bruce wasn't there. He wouldn't come? I asked. That classmate sterilized my bowl and chopsticks with hot water and smiled somewhat stiffly. I only invited you. My hand, holding chopsticks to pick up food, paused midair. What do you mean? I quickly understood where his unnaturalness and awkwardness came from. He was actually the person who bumped into Bruce and me at the bathhouse door that day. The scene that day had been chaotic, and my butt had been hurting terribly, so I didn't even care to see who it was. But even if I had seen him, I wouldn't have remembered. We didn't interact much to begin with. I heard everything from outside the door. I know you two weren't fighting. He spoke hesitantly, glancing at me. But I really needed this money. His family was poor, and his younger sister, who he depended on, had fallen ill. He had already been driven to a dead end and was planning to drop out of school to work, but unexpectedly got this opportunity. I am truly sorry. In the future, when I make money, I will definitely pay you back. Forget about paying it back. Not just anyone can use a petty trick to get the special scholarship. You have the actual ability. But you were supposed to get it. Supposed to. You could have also kept this matter rotting in your stomach. But he still chose to confess to me. I smiled and reached out to open a bottle of alcohol. The small restaurant was noisy, with hot steam and greasy smoke permeating the air. He apologized again and started rambling about his family's situation. I suddenly asked him, "Don't you find me disgusting?" He froze for a moment and shook his head. "Things like this have existed since ancient times. It's very normal." My thoughts suddenly became a bit hazy. Bruce and I used to sponsor a lot of people. Some people insisted on thanking us in person, but upon seeing that their sponsors were a same-sex couple, their faces would immediately change, as if even the money had become unclean. There were also others who, upon finding out we had no children, tried every means possible to adopt their own children into our household registry, just to inherit our wealth in the future. These things were clearly all in the past, and I had long since let them go. Yet at this moment, my eyes grew red over a single normal. Unable to control myself, I drank a bit too much. The classmate paid the bill and supported me as we walked back towards the school. Using the posture of leaning against him, I secretly slipped some money into his pocket. "Looking at the sky, it seems like it's going to snow," he said. I looked up. The ink blue sky was divided into small blocks by crisscrossing power lines. Every block looked heavy, as if brewing a snowfall. "It probably will." My exhaled breath condensed into white mist. As the mist dispersed, I saw Bruce up ahead. He was standing at the mouth of the alley with his hands in his pockets, backed by colorful neon string lights. There was no expression on his face. He made eye contact with me for 2 seconds, coldly glanced at the person beside me, and turned to walk away without saying a word. I was slow for several seconds before I reacted, chasing after him with unsteady steps. The classmate called out from behind, "Arnold, be careful." I couldn't bother to respond, because Bruce was walking even faster. "Bruce!" I tried to call out to him, my voice echoing from one end of the alley to the other. Bruce's footsteps paused, but he didn't stop. Chapter 4. His retreating figure grew further and further away. I slowly slowed my footsteps, leaning against the wall and panting. I had spent the entire meal immersed in memories and had unknowingly eaten way too much. Right now, my stomach was churning violently. The cold wind blew directly against my head, leaving my brain feeling dizzy and swollen. It felt awful, but none of this compared to the ache in my heart. It felt as if my heart were soaking in a vat of acid, shriveled up and unable to unfurl. I once again remembered that banquet. That kind of business socializing was a common occurrence for us. But no matter the occasion, Bruce would always maintain his sobriety until the very end. He knew I was a lightweight. Whenever I drank, the wind would make it go straight to my head, and once that happened, I'd feel miserable. He needed to stay sober to take me home, to cook hangover soup for me, change my clothes, hold me in his arms while rubbing my temples and patting my back, and take care of me when I woke up in the middle of the night. Back then, I always had someone to lean on, broad, solid, and warm, instead of being pierced through by the cold wind like I was now. "Hey, can you still walk?" The howling wind suddenly stopped. Someone was standing beside me. The lost heat slowly returned to my body bit by bit. I groggily turned my head. Even though my vision was blurred, I recognized him at a single glance. It was Bruce. He kept a straight face and warned me, "If I find out you're still messing with me, I really will beat you up." I stood there stunned for a long time, suddenly overwhelmed by an inexplicable sense of grievance. "Bruce, you don't want me anymore. How could you leave me behind? We agreed to go together. You're a massive liar, leaving without saying a single word. You didn't leave a single word for me. Do you know how agonizing those last few years were for me? I wanted to go find you earlier every single day, but I was afraid you'd scold me if I went too soon. When the doctor finally told me to give up, I was so happy. I could finally come find you with peace of mind." Bruce grabbed my wrist, frowning. "Arnold, what are you saying?" "Bruce." Scalding tears spilled from my eyes. I grabbed his collar, sobbing uncontrollably. "I love you so much." The man in front of me visibly shuddered. His previously nonchalant expression suddenly grew heavy. After a long moment, a self-deprecating smile surfaced on his lips. "Heh, 1 minute you say you like me and can only accept me, and the next you're hugging and getting cozy with another man. Your words are total bullshit. Not a single ounce of truth. It's not like that." I wanted to explain, but the moment I opened my mouth, a wave of nausea suddenly surged up from within. It was too late to turn away. With a gag, everything I had eaten and drunk tonight ended up entirely on Bruce. His face looked absolutely murderous. Gritting his teeth, he enunciated every single word. Arnold, is this what you meant when you said you'd only open your body to me? I don't know how Bruce got me back to the dorm later. When I woke up, my head was still suffering from a hangover, and I felt completely dizzy. My roommate handed me a cup of water, winking at me. You two really made up? It took me several seconds to process that sentence and realize he was talking about Bruce. He carried you on his back all the way up here, shivering from the cold in just a sweater, and even specifically instructed me to make sure you drank some warm water when you woke up. By the way, where did you guys go drinking? Take me with you next time. As the warm water flowed down my throat, the discomfort eased significantly. I gave a perfunctory reply and got out of bed to go find Bruce. He wasn't there. Is he still avoiding me? Damn it. Did I say something out of line again last night? Couldn't remember. While clutching my head and trying desperately to recall, someone suddenly patted my shoulder. Arnold, there's a phone call for you down at the mailroom. It was a call from home, asking me to make a trip back. Halfway through the bus ride, snow began to fall outside the window. Someone on the bus remarked that the first snow had arrived early this year, meaning next year's harvest would surely be a good one. First snow. My brain suddenly jolted. The swirling snowflakes outside the window blurred in my vision. Bruce passed away 5 years before I did. That was also a snowy day. We were on the balcony brewing tea around the stove, roasting peanuts and rice cakes. Bruce noticed the snow had stopped outside and said he was going out to buy some mandarin oranges. I've seen other people roast them like this. Our stove looks too empty. This mundane sentence ended up being the last thing we ever said to each other. He slipped in the snow and never woke up again. The doctor said it was likely an old ailment flaring up. For the elderly, even a simple fall can be fatal. It was a tragedy, but there was nothing anyone could do. Bruce had an old injury in his leg, a lingering issue from his youth. Walking normally was fine, but whenever it was windy, rainy, or cold, it would ache terribly. I knew exactly how he got that injury. A thief had once broken into my house, and Bruce, who happened to still be awake, saw it. While chasing and grappling with him, the exasperated thief used an iron pipe to break Bruce's shin bone. That day was also the day of the first snow. Chapter 5. Bruce and I had been neighbors since we were 6. Our parents had a huge fight over housing allocations at their work unit, and their relationship remained extremely strained, with almost no interaction between the two families. Children inherently lack the concept of grudges. Their thoughts are entirely learned from their families. If their family says the other person is bad, then the other person is bad. This impression deepened time and time again, and Bruce and I became incompatible, sworn enemies. Now I was standing at his door, knocking. When his mother saw me, her face was filled with surprise. Hello, Auntie. I'm looking for Bruce. I had run all the way here after getting off the bus, trying hard to steady my breathing, but I was still panting heavily. She stared blankly, then turned to look inside the house. Bruce was currently eating. I got drunk last night and passed out on the side of the road. Bruce kindly took me back to my dorm, so I specifically came to thank him. He took you back? Didn't you two just get into a fight? I suddenly had an idea. It's like this. That scholarship actually isn't that important to us, but the classmate ranked right below us desperately needs that money. So, Bruce and I intentionally put on an act to give the award to him. She clearly didn't quite believe it, suspicion written all over her face. Just as I was thinking about how to continue spinning the lie, Bruce's voice came from inside. Mom, it's exactly like he said. After I got together with Bruce, these old houses had long since been demolished. This was my first time walking into the room where he lived during his childhood. My heart was filled with curiosity, and I couldn't help but look around everywhere. Wow, when was this photo taken? So cute. This chessboard, did you buy it from that chess hall next to the A University-affiliated elementary school? I have one too. How come I've never seen you wear these clothes? Afraid of clashing outfits with me? Bruce leaned against the cabinet beside me, interrupting me. What exactly is the matter? Running all the way to my house. I smiled and said, I came to thank you. Save it. I came to care about you. I heard you froze last night. Heh. He gave a light snort and sat down on the bed. I'm not going to freeze to death. All right. I'm here to apologize. Bruce looked up at me but didn't say anything. I thought of some sad things last night and drank too much. I lost control. I didn't mean to throw up on you. Oh, he replied coldly. After a while, he asked again. Is it because you lost the scholarship? Huh. Those sad things you mentioned. Why is his focus on this? Of course not. About the scholarship, half of what I just told your mom is true. The person I ate with is that classmate, and he really does need that money. We just considered it helping someone in need. As I spoke, I stopped, my heart pounding fiercely. I leaned closer to him, tentatively asking, "Do you care about me a lot? Stop flattering yourself. Then do you hate me?" Bruce averted his gaze. "Are you done talking? I want to sleep. The bunk above mine was leaking water last night, and I didn't sleep all night." I stared intently at him, reaching out to cup his face. "You will like me. You will like me just as much as I like you." Before he could lash out, I swiftly planted a kiss on the corner of his mouth. "Go to sleep early tonight." I used an upset stomach as an excuse to not go out of town with my family to attend a wedding banquet. I had no intention of sleeping tonight. It wasn't until I reached an old age that I understood. How could a person possibly have no regrets? There are actually many regrets. Given a chance to do it all over again, I had to let him avoid this inexplicable leg ailment. I vaguely remembered the thief showing up around midnight. Considering the police needed time to arrive, I used the home phone to call the police 10 minutes in advance. Unexpectedly, just after hanging up the phone, rustling sounds came from the door. My heart skipped a beat. He's here this early? However, I had double-locked the door and slid the bolt into place beforehand, so he shouldn't be able to get in. The noise continued for over a minute, then stopped. I hunched over and quietly walked to the door, holding my breath to listen for quite a while. There seemed to be no one outside anymore. Did he give up after failing to get in? As I slowly straightened up, my ears suddenly caught a click. If I were in my 80s, I might tell myself that I had been bent over for too long and the bones in my body weren't listening to me. But right now, I was only in my early 20s. I knew someone had entered the house. Upstairs. Damn it. This thief really cased the joint accurately. He must have been watching my house for a while and knew there was a broken security grate on the second floor. I hesitated between hiding and immediately opening the door to escape, but the creaking from above was getting closer. The person was coming down the stairs. My heart was about to leap out of my chest. In my panic, I ducked under the tablecloth. As I sat back, I bumped into a chair, letting out a short, sharp noise. I clamped my hands tightly over my mouth. At this critical moment, I suddenly remembered that the door was still locked from the inside. This kind of lock, which could only be operated from the inside, was clearly telling anyone outside that someone was home. I prayed in my heart that he was a coward and would hurry up and leave once he realized this. It had already started snowing outside, and the snowlight reflecting into the room meant it wasn't completely dark. I clearly saw the person's cloth shoes step down the final 2 stairs. A tattered cloth bag hung at his waist, and the shapes of the items inside were vaguely discernible. It was my radio, and it seemed there were also a few medals. He was currently dismantling the telephone downstairs. There weren't many valuable things in this era. Anything with a bit of metal could be exchanged for money. I felt a bit anxious. Is it because it's snowing? Why are the police taking so long? Seeing the man tuck my TV under his arm and head toward the door, I breathed a sigh of relief. Forget it. Better to lose wealth to ward off disaster. At least no one is hurt. Just as my heart settled halfway, the crunching sound of footsteps on snow suddenly came from outside the house. Very light, but very steady. The thief had clearly heard it too and quickly walked toward the front door. Seeing that the door was locked, he froze for a moment, but only for a moment. He quickly unlocked it and turned the doorknob. Cold wind mixed with snowflakes poured into the room, lifting the tablecloth, and I saw the person I least wanted to see at this moment. Didn't I tell him to go to sleep early? Bruce stood outside the door, his voice as cold as the snowy night. Put the things down. Chapter 6. I scrambled out from under the table, shouting at Bruce. Stay away from him. He was armed. Everything that happened next was a blur. The snow kicked up during the struggle fluttered just like the snow falling from the sky. The world seemed to be pressed into slow motion. Adrenaline took control of my body, and there was only one thought left in my brain. Bruce cannot get hurt. The sound of police sirens came from afar, acting like a signal. Strength suddenly vanished from my body. My legs gave out and I slumped to the ground. Bruce quickly caught me. Why are you at home? Ignoring his question, I anxiously checked to make sure he was okay, patting him up and down. Thank goodness he wasn't hurt. Stop groping around. I'm fine. He grabbed my wrists. Your hands are cut up. Let's go to the hospital. I stared blankly at my palms. Only then did the burning pain reach my nerves, and I belatedly drew in a sharp breath of cold air. You're so stupid. Didn't you know to let go? I didn't dare let go. If I let go, that iron pipe would have swung at the person I love. By the time we got together, over a decade had already passed since this incident. All impressions had become blurred. I knew it had left him with lingering effects, but I didn't feel it as deeply then. But right now I really wanted to ask, Bruce, why did you have to be so nosy? You clearly hate me so much. You should have been eager to see my things get stolen. Bruce helped me into the car. Blame it on me not being asleep and just happening to see it. When you couldn't sleep, were you looking at my house? With a bang, he slammed the car door shut. By the time my wounds were bandaged and we finished giving our statements, it was already the middle of the night. My family had been notified and was rushing back home. Bruce and I parted ways at the intersection. I was still very scared and wanted him to stay and keep me company, but his mom was waiting for him at his door. Then go to sleep early. I walked back sluggishly, went up the steps and entered the door. Just as the door was about to close, a hand suddenly reached out and blocked the door frame. Seeing how pitiful you are, I'll reluctantly keep you company for a bit. There was only one pillow on my bed. Bruce lay on the outermost edge, fully clothed, not even covering himself with the blanket. I shimmied over and lifted a corner of the blanket. Aren't you cold? Not cold, but I'm cold. My hands bled so much, and my body is freezing. I can't warm up the blanket all by myself. I spoke so pitifully that Bruce finally moved. But he only slipped under the covers, keeping his distance from me. Bruce, I'm scared. Can you come a little closer? Heh, he sneered. What are you afraid of? You were fighting the fiercest just now. Even the thief was terrified by you. I was afraid you'd get hurt. I muttered softly. So petty. I'm petty. Bruce laughed. After what you did to me during the day, the fact that I didn't punch you is already considered generous. I played dumb. What did I do? The bedboard creaked. Bruce turned his body, his eyes dark and heavy. Trying to deny it? I'm getting old, my memory isn't good. Bruce took a deep breath, his tone stiff. You kissed me. Oh, I responded and then said no more. The room fell quiet, leaving only the sound of our breathing and the snow falling outside the window. After a long while, he couldn't help but speak up. Just that one word? I'm thinking. Thinking about what? Do you regret it? Thinking. If I kiss you again right now, will you punch me? Bruce shut his mouth. Will you? Bruce didn't speak. I slowly leaned over, inching closer to his face, so close that our breaths intertwined. I'm injured right now, you can't hit me. Bruce still didn't make a sound. I gently brushed my lips against his, as light as a feather. I could clearly feel the flutter of his eyelashes and the instant his breathing lost its rhythm. Do you like it? His voice had gone quite hoarse. So disgusting. Oh. Then open your mouth. Bruce's gaze locked tightly onto me in the dim light. To do what? To feed you something even more disgusting. After so many years, a kiss initiated by me. 20-year-old Bruce and 20-year-old Arnold. Young bodies are truly different. It quickly got very hot under the covers. At my urging, Bruce took off his clothes without a word. He was clearly quite invested during the deep kiss, so I didn't know why he suddenly became so quiet. He must be shy, right? I didn't have time to overthink it. I was incredibly nervous at this moment. Since Bruce only saw the light after sleeping with me in our past timeline, tonight had to be a perfect first time for him. Combining my past life and this one, I had never worked so hard. But the more proactive I was, the calmer he became. This intimate act almost became my solo performance. At the critical moment, he suddenly pushed me away and sat up. Seeing as you're not cold anymore, I'm going home. I was completely dumbfounded. I wanted to keep pestering him, but my parents' voices suddenly came from downstairs, forcing us to end things in a hurry. Chapter 7. Early the next morning, carrying the fruit my parents had prepared, I went to Bruce's house to thank him, only to be told he had already returned to campus. What exactly went wrong? He couldn't possibly be shy to this extent, could he? I immediately rushed back to school and went straight to his dorm to find him. Bruce had obvious dark circles under his eyes. It was clear at a glance that he hadn't slept all night. What's the meaning of this? You take advantage of me and then run. He glanced at me, his eyes darting away evasively. We didn't even finish. Does this count as giving up halfway? Was I dumped by him? This is an absolute humiliation. I grabbed his collar and pinned him to the bed. Bruce, I wasn't in a good state last night. Let's try again. He turned his head, avoiding my kiss. I gritted my teeth and forced his face back. Hit me if you have the guts. The kiss this time was exceptionally difficult. It wasn't until I tasted blood that he finally relented, allowing me to continue. We were too absorbed and didn't hear the sounds outside the dorm room. When Bruce suddenly pushed me away, the door opened right at that moment. His roommate Billy came blustering in, not noticing us. I silently pulled away to put some distance between us. "What's wrong?" Billy grimaced in pain. "It froze over by the washroom. I wasn't paying attention and took a fall." I remembered the medicinal oil from the school clinic. "I still have half of the medicine I used last time. I'll go get it for you." After returning to my dorm to wash my face and grabbing the medicine, I came back to find Billy already lying on his stomach on the bed. "Ready." "Thanks, man. I misunderstood you before. You're actually a really good guy. Rub it in gently. Okay?" Is he asking me to apply the medicine for him? Apply it. Fine, I'll apply it. I squatted down beside Billy's bed. Just as I was about to unscrew the cap, my elbow was suddenly grabbed. The medicine bottle was snatched away and tossed in front of Billy. Bruce, his face dark, dragged me outside. "What are you doing?" "Billy is still waiting." Bruce dragged me all the way to the stairwell landing before letting go. I rolled my arm a bit, feeling a little annoyed. Young people really have such huge tempers, throwing a fit at the drop of a hat. Mature people speak their minds directly. They don't beat around the bush like this. "Who are you comparing me to?" I froze, stiffly raising my head. His eyes were like a bottomless ocean, churning with emotions I couldn't understand. "I'm not. Don't deny it. I can feel it." My heart gave a violent tremor. "Last night, I think I really did say something like, 'Why are you so clumsy? Don't you know how to move?' What number am I?" Bruce took a step forward, the chill radiating from him instantly enveloping me. "Which number am I among the people you've toyed with? You're so skilled. Did you practice all this on other people?" My mind suddenly went completely blank. I had only been thinking about making Bruce accept me, completely failing to notice that his desire had long since receded, replaced by insecurity and hesitation. Is the Arnold in front of me still the Arnold I knew? His behavior is as frivolous as a completely different person, an experienced player in the game of love. Is the like he speaks of genuine, or just an excuse to sleep with me? If I accept him, will I just be tossed aside like all the others before him? I didn't know how to explain. I could only shake my head vaguely, unable to say anything convincing. "I wasn't toying with you, and there is no one else." Bruce kept looking at me in silence. A few people came noisily up the stairs from below, and he gently pulled me further inside to make way. I stared blankly at the outline of his jawline, hearing myself ask, "Bruce, you like me, don't you?" He slightly turned his head. "Is that important?" "It's important. It's extremely important, Bruce." Chapter 8. That night I had a dream. I dreamed of lying on the snow, snowflakes falling slowly from the gray clouds, and all around me, mandarin oranges were scattered across the ground. I suddenly sat up. That person wasn't beside me. In the vast expanse of white snow, I was the only one there. For the first 2 years after Bruce left, I couldn't control myself from constantly wondering what he saw at the very end and what he was thinking. Later on, I stopped wondering. I just wanted to wait for the doctor to give me an outcome so I could go ask him in person. In the dream, I lay back down in the snow, staring blankly at the sky. Then, at some point, I heard his voice. "I haven't lived enough yet. Arnold. We fell in love too late and missed out on too much. I want to start over with you." I bought breakfast and knocked on Bruce's dorm door. Billy opened it, his eyes lighting up. "Thanks, I want a scallion roll." "Ah, sorry, I didn't buy one for you. This portion is for Bruce." Bruce was sitting on the edge of the bed. He glanced up at me, then continued putting on his clothes. Billy wailed as he threw on his jacket. "You guys have no conscience, making a wounded man apply his own medicine, and making a wounded man buy his own breakfast." I urged him, "If you don't go downstairs soon, the scallion rolls will be sold out." Billy ran out, grumbling and cursing. I pulled the desk over to Bruce's bed and sat down across from him. "Bruce, let's get to know each other again. My name is Arnold. I am your neighbor, childhood friend, classmate, and rival. And now I am your suitor. This is my first time having a campus romance. Forgive my previous clumsiness. I will change." He stared at me. "First time?" I nodded. "You are the first, and you will be the last." Bruce lowered his head and reached out to unwrap the breakfast. I pretended not to see the uncontrollable upward curve of his lips and continued asking, "I saw a chessboard in your room last time. Do you like playing chess? Do you want to go to the chess hall together this weekend?" He took a slow sip of soy milk. I don't like playing chess anymore. Then what do you like? He thought for a moment. Watching movies. Perfect. I pulled 2 movie flyers out of my pocket. How about this one? An action movie. The steam from the soy milk diffused between us. Bruce kept looking at me. Are you serious? Of course. Why? Because I like you, and I want to start over before we turn 36. Bruce frowned slightly. Why 36? I blinked at him mysteriously. After we turn 36, I'll tell you a story. If you enjoyed this story, remember to subscribe to my channel. Thank you so much.